can all have a seat. Welcome to the Anne Arundel County Nonprofit Center, which was, yes, an amazing building where nonprofits convene, and some are housed here now, brought to you by a federal earmark of $3 million back in, I think it was 22, 23, can't remember exactly, but so we are here because we have our amazing team, Maryland, our senators, Senator Alsobrooks, Senator Van Hollen, and our Congresswoman, who are going to talk about the earmarks that we've got. We also have Leah Paley here with the Food Bank of Anne Arundel County that's also here at Crownsville. Got an earmark, congratulations. We also have Lisa Rodvian, who's from this district, District 6 in Anne Arundel County, and we have Delegate Heather Bagnall, the chair of our Health Committee in the Maryland General Assembly. Thank you for taking the time to join us. So I just want to briefly, as County Executive, talk about the process for earmarks and what we've got here that we're going to be announcing. You can see the checks already, but earmarks are something that they stopped doing for a while, then they started a few years ago, and they are really the part of the federal budget that I think is the most responsive to communities. And in our case with Team Maryland, it is so gratifying to be able to sit down with our senators, sit down with our Congresswoman, and talk about what our priorities are. And our nonprofits do the same thing. I'm sure you advocated directly. We were just at YWCA, who also got funded through an earmark, and they advocate directly as well as get support from local government. And we always think of Congress and their budget as being things that are not really connected to local communities, but these earmarks are absolutely that. And so we go into a lot of detail. We talk to your staffs as well, and we talk about our priorities. And so I am really excited and proud and pleased to be able to announce that our Joint 911 Center is going to be getting an earmark. We're the only county in Maryland that does not have police and fire in one place when they get the 911 calls. This is going to be managed by our Office of Emergency Management. It's going to be just down the road here behind the Ram's Head, the Roadhouse they call it. Yeah, you're pretty familiar, right? So that's going to be $3.5 million, and we are very gratified. That is a project that we absolutely are going to be moving on and need to move on, and I know it's a priority for you. Here at Crownsville Hospital Memorial Park, we now call it the Meyer Building. This was the first building that we did. This was on land the county already owned before the state transferred to us. But the Meyer Building is a one-story building that is really important because we can do housing there, and we can do transitional housing there, and we can do services there, and we can do housing for veterans there. And so we've got our Arundel Community Development Services and our Housing Commission working on the plan as we speak to provide those services there. And so that was the one that I felt most passionate about, the $3.1 million. Thank you. And then the other big one is the gun violence intervention work that Anne Arundel County does through its Department of Health. And this was something that we started after the Capitol Gazette shooting. And the newspaper asked all the local electeds, what will you do to confront gun violence and prevent mass shootings? And my answer was, I don't know, but I'm going to ask the community. And so we had a process, the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force, and our health, Dr. Nilesh Naraman at the time, really joined that group and said it has to be treated like a public health issue. It is a public health issue. And so there's been amazing work that's been done at our libraries, giving out gun locks and things like that. But the cure violence, the violence interruption work that's been going on in Annapolis and in West County, and we hope to expand across the county, is going to be funded with $1 million out of this earmark as well. So thank you for really addressing our real priorities. And I will first introduce our Senator Chris Van Hollen to speak first, and then you can pass it down the line. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's wonderful to be with all of you today. And let me start by thanking you, Stuart, County Executive Pittman, for your amazing service here in Anne Arundel County. We've worked very closely together throughout your tenure, and I know it's not over yet. We look forward to continuing to get projects over the finish line. But thank you so much, as well as to you, Councilmember Rodvin, Lisa, for your work on the council. And Heather, it's great to see you, Madam Chair, as well, because what you're seeing here is a team effort. And to Leah, thank you for all the work that you do at the food bank here in Anne Arundel County. And I'm going to talk for a moment about that along with the others. Now, the county executive has covered this well. I just want to say that Team Maryland, Federal Team Maryland, who you see here, has had a really important and good partnership with the county, both with the county and with nonprofits in the county, like the food bank, like as County Executive Pittman said, like with the YWCA, where we just did an event. And the county executive went through some of these provisions. I want to start by saying it is fitting that we're here in this building, this nonprofit center. I remember being here not that long ago when Federal Team Maryland delivered about $3 million to help support this effort in order to turn a place that used to be filled with pain into a place with purpose and with hope, and a place where people will be helped through the community spaces and through the actions taken from nonprofits delivering services through here. And as you can see, as the county executive mentioned, we have a grand total of over $7.6 million for important purposes here in Anne Arundel County. And I'm not going to go through all of them because the county executive mentioned some. I will say with respect to the $1 million for the gun violence prevention program, we have seen these work in other places around the state. We've seen them work in parts of Anne Arundel County. But in Baltimore City, for example, when they focused on a program that included prevention and intervention, we saw dramatic declines in the homicide rate. For example, a 31% drop in Baltimore City. Obviously, you have the enforcement piece, but the pieces we're talking about here, prevention and intervention, are designed to prevent that kind of violence from occurring in the first place. You need enforcement for deterrence, but you want prevention and intervention, and that's what these funds will be for. The Meyer building, of course, the county executive mentioned, it's essential to have a space where people can call home to provide these services. And of course, the joint 911 call center. I only learned during this process that Anne Arundel County was the only county in the state that did not have a joint call center. Obviously makes sense when emergency calls are coming in for the police and fire, that you have a consolidated effort to make sure you can deliver emergency services on time. So, and then of course there's the money for the food bank, and I do want to say a word about that because this is for a refrigeration truck, and that's important to provide fresh food to people who need it. And it's going to become even more important because of the cuts that were made in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. It's not a partisan statement. That's what Republicans called it. It was beautiful if you were a billionaire. You got permanent tax cuts, but it cut deeply into Medicaid and health services, and it cut deeply into food and nutrition programs, the SNAP program. So while this funding for the food bank won't, of course, replace the SNAP program, it is a contribution toward trying to make sure that you can continue to do your good work, Leah. So thank you as well. And I'm going to close with this, and County Executive Pittman mentioned this in our last gathering and referred to it again here. These are earmarks, right? These are direct funds. And I could not ask for better partners, and all of us work so closely together, than Senator Alsobrooks and Congresswoman Elfreth. And you're, of course, going to hear from both of them today. But we look at these projects and we decide based on the merits which ones to advance. And so we do have a collaborative process. It used to be, and I'm not going to go on at length, Stuart, but you mentioned at the earlier event that earmarks got a bad name in the past. And frankly, they got a bad name for a good reason. Early in my days in Congress, we passed reforms to clean up the process. The reality was that a lot of earmarks were going and being directed by some members through their lobbyists, we created an entirely different system. Number one, no for-profit entities could get them. And second, and most importantly, the transparency process. So when we get an earmark request, we put it on the internet. Everybody can look at it. It's amazing what sunlight and transparency will do for a more accountable process. Not that the Maryland delegation needed it, we didn't. We always had that kind of approach. But it did provide confidence to finally restore the earmark process. And they really do go to important community purposes, as you're seeing here, both working with the county as well as important nonprofits. And this team is just amazing because we work very closely together so we can maximize the benefit of these resources for Anne Arundel County and also other parts of the state of Maryland. And Congresswoman Elfreth has been fierce in making sure Anne Arundel County priorities are front and center. And Senator Alsobrooks has been focused like a laser beam on making sure that these resources go to important missions that we can all be proud of. And that's what we're talking about here. Investments that I think every taxpayer throughout our state, and I would, in this process, can say, this is a good use of money, filling important gaps. And that's what this is all about. That's what Senator Alsobrooks has been focused on as part of this process. And so I want to invite her up here and just say, thank all of you for sending a great United States Senator to the United States Senate, Angela Alsobrooks.
I was going to say good morning, but it's now good afternoon, and it really is so great to be here today. And I first want to thank the County Executive Stuart Pittman. I tell you, I would follow this County Executive anywhere. It has been such a thrill to work alongside him, first as a County Executive and to now have the chance to work with him also as a Senator. But I am just amazed at the tremendous work that you have done, County Executive, over the years. I've had the benefit of being in rooms with him when nobody's watching, with other county executives, when all the tough decisions had to be made. And I can tell you that time and time again, his decisions are made for the right reasons and about the right people and about the right issues. And so I'm just so proud of everything that you've done. I think standing here in this project is yet another example of the tremendous work that he has done. I'm going to come back and talk about that, but I do want to also salute my friends in public service who are here today and really thank them for the incredible work they do on behalf of Anne Arundel County's families, businesses, and others. I just want to thank them for continuing to contribute so mightily to our state. We are so lucky to live in a place like Maryland. I have to tell you, I feel that most especially at a time like this, and so thank you so much for your leadership and work. To our senior senator, Senator Van Hollen, again, it's a rare thing where you get to say in public the same things you say in private about a person. And we have such a conscientious, he is brilliant in every way. I think everyone knows that about Senator Van Hollen. But I am also more proud that he's a person who leads with his conscience, that he is a moral leader, and just it's so great to have a chance to be in Washington with you. And with one of our newest congresswomen, the super bad Sarah Elfreth, who is indomitable and full of energy. And he's going to get me for saying this, but I tell you, Senator Van Hollen is really energized and pumped up. He is on blue, and I think I know why. He has a new grandson. He's a first-time grandparent, and so he is really on fire. And so we're really excited for him and for his family. I came to this site. It had to be probably 2 years ago. I was invited here with County Executive Pittman, and he brought me to a site to show me what his vision was, and maybe it was even a little over 2 years ago. And it was horrifying to hear about the history of this particular site, to hear about Crownsville that I became familiar with as a prosecutor, because we often referred prisoners to Crownsville. But to learn that in 1910, a facility opened in this space where we housed in a segregated fashion individuals in a place that was called the Hospital for the Negro Insane. And over a 53-year period, untold horrors unfolded inside of what was known as Crownsville Hospital, where people were routinely tortured. Many of them were subjected to experimental treatments, and it was just a place that was absolutely full of pain and horror for over 53 years. In fact, it didn't close until 2004. And so to have had the vision, County Executive Pittman, to have turned that space, this campus, into a place that was known for so much pain and now represents promise is just extraordinary, extraordinary. And that is what I see really the significance of the earmarks that we've been able to fight for, is that we are all interested in making sure that we turn pain into promise on every occasion that we can, whether it is providing the true healing that our residents need, or whether it is investing in the food that they will need to nourish themselves and their families, or whether it is to answer that call, that emergency call, and to make sure that our families get the true service that they deserve. This whole campus now, one of healing and promise, is just amazing, and it is so great that we've been able to contribute even in a small but significant way. I think $7 million is actually pretty substantial, a contribution to it, but it just represents the kind of investment that we need here and across the state to continue to move our families forward. And I hope it also represents the fact that even at a time of chaos and confusion and cruelty, that good things are still happening on behalf of the people of Maryland, and we're going to make sure that that continues to be the case from this day and moving forward. Working with Team Maryland, that is what is always possible. So I want to thank my team for their work, again, to Senator Van Hollen, Congresswoman Elfreth, and we have just an incredibly talented federal team working alongside our partners here in the state. Team Maryland is on the job, and we just want to thank all of you for the work that you are doing as well on the ground to make sure that these critical dollars are used in a way that benefits our families. So thank you so much again to all of you. Thank you so much again to County Executive Pittman, and I'd like to hand over the microphone to Congresswoman Sarah Elfreth.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to echo my colleagues in emphasizing what it means to be Team Maryland. And to our partners in state government, Chairwoman Bagnall, thank you for being here. Your leadership on mental health and public health at the State House is a contribution to what we are talking about today. To Councilwoman Rodvian, who has been a stalwart champion of the institutions in Council District 6. Thank you for being here today. To our partner, County Executive Stuart Pittman, this is a collaborative process, not just in the delivering of funds, as the senators have mentioned, but even just the identifying of which projects meet the merit, meet public investment. Earmarks have traditionally been a dirty word, so dirty that we actually changed the name in the Congress. They're called community project funding now. And I think that's really important to note, because the projects that we collaboratively as a team identify are projects that are purposeful. They go to the greatest needs and fill the greatest gaps in our community. These are projects that have been vetted and invested in by county government, by state government. And most importantly, these are projects that come from and are vetted by the community. And I want to thank just a couple of people who are with us today. We would not be in this nonprofit center at Crownsville and talk about the investments in the Meyer Building restoration without the community engagement of a couple people. Not everybody could be here today, but I just wanted to give a shout out to my friend Janice Hayes Williams, who has been the champion of Crownsville. And we have Vanessa Carter here as well. Thank you so much, Vanessa. These projects are community driven, and that's what I just want to double down on for folks watching at home. I'm going to talk briefly about why they're so important in the context of the chaos of Washington, why these 4 projects we're talking about today are so critically important and urgent in this moment. It's been mentioned, but I have to double down on the fact that as this administration takes a sledgehammer to SNAP, a program that helps feed literally the most vulnerable in our communities, seniors, single parents, children, folks with disabilities, a sledgehammer to SNAP, we are delivering for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank and lifting up their good work with this earmark. not just for in support of their work here at Crownsville, their site is just down the street, but this refrigerated truck is going to help them deliver fresh food. We often think of food banks, and we think about canned goods, we think about boxes, but what's so important as we meet the nutrition crisis and the hunger crisis in our community is we need to think about fresh produce, fresh meat, and how are we actually delivering that to folks who are homebound or folks who don't have a car to come to a food bank or a food pantry. And so this refrigerated vehicle is going to help us fill that important gap. As DOGE, which can't believe it was just a year ago, we were in the height of DOGE, but as DOGE cut program after program, department after department in this government, I want to highlight a couple cuts they made that are important for this conversation today. They cut NIOSH. They cut the firefighter fatality investigation program, which makes sure that every line of duty death in this country of a firefighter is investigated at the federal level for years at a time to make sure the lessons learned of what went wrong can actually be translated back into corrective action for fire departments across this country so more line of duty deaths can be prevented. They cut that. They also cut the National Cancer Firefighter Registry, which is, I have no idea what efficiency they were looking to find there. We're talking about our first responders in cancer. All of those cuts, we are responding as Team Maryland by sending $3.5 million to help build the Joint 911 Center, which is going to bring those firefighters and police officers and first responders and our emergency management team together to be more responsive to the communities as people expect. As the president shut down the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention on his first day in office, Team Maryland is investing $1 million in Anne Arundel County's groundbreaking program to interrupt and intervene in gun violence before it occurs, which is going to keep so many of our communities safe. And as this administration slashes jobs at the Veterans Administration, as this administration denies that, or makes DEI a dirty word, a dirty acronym, as this administration is pulling down, literally pulling down at our national parks, the stories, the true stories of American history, just because they happen to be the stories of Black or Indigenous Americans. We are responding with $3 million to invest in the Meyer Building right here at Crownsville because we are a community that confronts our past, as Senator Alsobrooks said, confronts what happened here, and wants to make something good and beautiful and mission-driven out of it. Not just with this nonprofit center, but also with the Meyer Building. And the county executive, I think you grinned at me when I said veterans housing, Mr. County, because like a broken record, I have been with you about veterans housing and how Crownsville can be an opportunity for us to literally help another vulnerable population, the amount of people experiencing homelessness who are actually veterans who served this country, who do not and cannot afford simple housing here in Anne Arundel County in Maryland. The Meyer Building in Crownsville can be and will be a solution to fill that gap. And so I'm so grateful that Team Maryland was able to collaborate with the people here and the people in our community who helped us identify, helped us deliver this funding. And this is a great day because it's been as you couldn't tell from my remarks, it's been a little bit of a trialing time in the Congress. I have a friend who says that they wish we lived in more precedented times, which I find funny. That being said, in response to all of this chaos and devastation and in response to some really terrible days in Washington, this community has been able to step up, and this federal delegation, Senator Van Hollen, Senator Alsobrooks, and myself have had the opportunity to deliver. And I'm so grateful to have had that, to work with them, to work with Team Maryland, and work with all of you to make sure we are filling those gaps, meeting the needs of our community together. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to a woman who, between the pandemic, the government shutdown, slashes to SNAP, has been there for our community, leading the Anne Arundel County Food Bank with grace, with a strategic vision, with a clear identification of what we can do better together as a community. We are on the phone quite often this last year, and I want to thank her for raising a flag when she sees something going wrong or when she needs support. And I'm just grateful that we are all here to be here to support her incredibly important work at the Anne Arundel County Food Bank, and that's Leah Paley.
truly an honor to be here today and surrounded by so many good folks that we have the joy of working with regularly. And really, I'm just grateful for the relationships that we've built with all of the folks up here and all of the good work that they have helped us to do in our community. And if not for them, there are many things in the most recent shutdown that we experienced that we would not have been able to do, like quickly deploy thousands of boxes of food to our most vulnerable community members. And if not for the former state senator and our colleague in the back, the many millions of meals that we've been able to distribute across Anne Arundel County. For those not as familiar, one of the most populated counties and one of the most wealthy, and yet over 11% of Anne Arundel County residents are experiencing food insecurity. It's over 66,000 people, 66,000. And we have the joy, a few of my colleagues here today and one of our board members, of going to work every day to make a difference for our community members. The Congresswoman mentioned the importance of nutrition, and of course that is intricately linked with health outcomes, and we have prioritized distributing healthy food. Last year, over 1.2 million pounds of produce went to our neighbors in Anne Arundel County. We distributed over 4.5 million pounds of food and basic essentials, and having this additional refrigerated box truck allows us to continue that work. And in addition, I'll highlight food waste. I believe the statistic is 40% of the food produced in this country is thrown out. So having a refrigerated box truck that allows us to seek additional resources to help meet the community's needs, and instead of those going into the dumpster at the local store, but coming back to us and going to our community, does good in many different ways. So we are so very grateful for the support. And I do also want to give a shout out to our county executive, who has been such a staunch supporter and has been working very closely with us as we are looking to move to a new home and build a new building so we can do more and do more better. And so I am so grateful for that. And thank you from the bottom of our heart for helping us to continue this good work.
I think that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions? If not, we'll get to the check presentation.
Oh, the check, sorry, yeah.
We'll start with the county.
All right. Come on up, please, here. Well, as many as want to come, but definitely we have to have our county council, who's the fiscal authority of the state, of the county, wherever we are. Yes. All right.
I'll stand on the end.
Yeah,
I love Anne Arundel County.
Yeah, we're going to get some money.
All right.
Okay, we're first going to go with this camera right here. Ready, everybody? All right, everybody, that's it, right here. And right here, down here. Good, up here.
Oh, wow, you got a lot.
Right.
And this includes the Meyer money.
And then you're looking
Yeah.
at me.
We should bring Janice
So little people.
Janice.
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 in. Get up here.
Come on up to the Meyer building.
Yes.
Yes.
It's in here.
Janice, come on in, Janice.
Okay, we'll look at Janice's phone.
Right.
We're doing everyone. Oh, don't
Now we're doing
We're
food.
the second check,
Right.
food bank.